What is going on, guys? It's your boy BG, and welcome to Common Sense, where common sense isn't so common. In today's topic, we are going to be talking about the 40-40 plan. Now, what the 40-40 plan is, let me just give you a little bit of a dial back in a scenario that has happened to me a couple of months ago. It was a while back, and what sparked me up to wanting to talk about this topic because I was reading the book The Magic of Thinking Big, and I never truly understand what the 40-40 plan means. I understood it, but I couldn't break it down to the T. And to be honest with you, I'm someone who I don't know everything. But however, I want to be able to inspire people even who are up in age, way older than me, 40 and plus. What the 40-40 plan is someone who is 40 years of age and up, working 48 hours a week, receiving less than 40% of their paycheck, or spending more than 40% of the check, 40% of their check, or less than 40% of their check. But majority of it is just being over the age of 40, working 40 hours a week. In the accumulation of 2 weeks, you receive 80 hours, or if you do overtime, 80 hours and plus. Some people, they work 80 hours and plus and reach up to 100 or 120 hours. They work crazy hours. And what sparked me up to talk about this again, which I did do a recording back in February, but I didn't really like the recording, of course. And what the 40-40, I guess I just explained the 40-40 plan. My brain is acting like a recorder all over again. But okay, I put it this way. When I was at my job, when I was working around the time where I sort of began starting my podcast, there was one of the workers, one of the drivers that work at my job. He was picking up a couple of orders. This was off the early morning tip. Let's just say between 9 and 9:30, or between 9 and 10 a.m. in the morning. So when I was picking some orders, my cousin, he had put me on to the dude because at the time, I was in a trade group. So he was the guy that was coming to pick up the orders. He also trade. And me and him, we were chopping up our trades, and he was chopping up about, he wants to retire before in the next 2 or 3 years. And the guy was about, let's just say 46 years old. 46, maybe 40, between 43 and 46. And he had kind of stated to me, he was like, man, I'm kind of tired. I don't want to be on a 40-40 plan anymore. And that's what I asked him at the time, what was the 40-40 plan? And that's when he broke it down to me. 40 years of age, working 40 hours a week, getting less than 40% of your check, but spending more than 40% of your check. And he was in trades and investing. And he said, yeah, I'm using this to help me retire because this isn't a lifestyle I want anymore. And at the time, it impressed me a lot because there's not too many guys or too many men his age that jumped into trading. Not that I know of. Not saying that they don't exist, but not to my knowledge. I don't know too many that's jumping into trading at his age. Because a lot of people who don't jump into trading, they so against it because they weren't educated about trading or investing, so they believe it's a scam. And then two, social media with these bots talking about Bitcoin all the time. You got any money for Bitcoin? I can help you get some Bitcoin and all this other crap. But to really state my point, you're never truly old to start something and to make a change. It depends on your mindset, right? It depends on your mindset and how you feel at that particular time at your age. Because a lot of people who's 40 years and up, they state that they are too old to do anything, which is not true. People have to understand that a man is judged by his faith, and your faith is what pushes you further to what you want. So if a man does not believe that he can obtain this, then he won't. Because when there's no belief, there is no work. When there is no work, then nothing happens. So put it this way. This is for anyone. We're not just talking about men specifically. People who are 40 years and up. Your 20 years, your productivity starts at 20. And usually people be 40 years old or 30 claiming that they are too old to do something. And how much of your life you used up since you were 20? And if someone is 40, of course, they're going to say 20 years. And someone who is in their 30s, of course, they're going to say, 10 years, or if they're 35, 15 years, right? Ask yourself, when does a human being's productivity usually stop? And if you want to estimate the average estimate, it will usually be 70 years of age. So if you're at the age of 40, how many years of productivity do you have left? Think about it. 30. So from you being 40, you still have 30 years left of productivity to get what you want. And to some people will say, well, this usually takes 5 to 10 years. Once again, a man is as he thinketh. So if you believe that this is how many years you will obtain your desires, which is processed through your thoughts and your thinking. If you truly believe that it'll take this many amount of years, then that's how long it's going to take. You're never too old to make a change, or you're never too old to learn from other people. Within those 30 years, 10 years of that, you can still obtain what you want out of life. Or even 5 years, you can still obtain it. But your thought process and the way you think of yourself is what limits you from pushing further from where you're at. So if you believe that you can't get anything at the age of 40, or you're burnt out, then that's exactly what it's going to be. Your mind is very obedient to your thoughts. And because your mind is obedient to the thoughts, your mind will listen to those thoughts that you are bringing to the floor, right? So now your actions is just a clear projection of your thoughts. So what you're thinking, your actions will show for it. It's like a projector. So belief can go at any age. Any age, you can have belief at any age, but it starts with hope. You have to have hope, which sparks belief, and belief, which sparks faith. Faith is like the strongest thing you can have in your arsenal. In order for you to obtain anything you want, you have to have faith. That's like the number one thing. Faith is the number one key ingredient of a successful person. And your progress is judged by your level of faith. And a lot of people usually say, well, I'm not smart enough. You don't have to be a genius in order to become successful. It's not. I'm going to have a whole clear podcast about this, but definitely jot this down. It's not the intelligence that leads you to be successful. It's your thinking that guides your intelligence. Your thinking that guides your intelligence. Positive or negative thinking will create the results based upon your intelligence and how you apply it. Let me put it this way. A positive person will get positive results. And if he's smart, if he has intelligence and has positive thinking, he will get greater results than a man who is negative and has intelligence. The man with intelligence won't get but so far because of his way of thinking. Same thing applies to your age. Your way of thinking is what's going to get you far. Not the amount of intelligence, not the amount of years you have, or not the amount of years you lack, but the amount of time you have left. That amount of time you have left, you have to spend each day working towards it as if tomorrow you're about to get it. And more times you dig into that hole, into that place that has the X marks the spot, the more you dig deep into it, the more you'll find that treasure that you always been looking for. This podcast really was something I wanted to touch up on for a long period of time. And as I say this, I can listen to this myself. And when I feel down and out, and when I feel like I'm losing my touch, I can always listen back on this, because you're never too old to have goals and to have dreams and to have ambitions. But being an adult, living in the real world, is what crushes your dreams of believing that you could become anything. When you have so much going on, so much chaos going on, you lose that track of thinking and you lose your imagination. Your imagination is what sparks desires and what sparks dreams. It all stems from imagination. Your imagination, it stems from merely your thoughts. And your thoughts stems merely from your mindset. So your mindset is the key thing and the key element in how you can push forward and how you can be held back. So you're never too old to gain anything out of life. Always remember that. Faith plus great work ethic creates vulnerable opportunity. Once again, faith plus great work ethic creates vulnerable opportunity. And I catch you guys in the next episode of Common Sense Podcast. Wait. Lastly, before I actually end this, you can listen to this podcast on 5 to 6 platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or whatever you get your podcasts. See ya.